All right, guys. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for jumping on today. How's everyone doing? Good. Look at Heather. You're all smiles. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, we are going to talk all things recruiting today. So I want to kind of get a feel from you guys how things are going. I see Shelly on here. She's crushing SC this month. Well done, lady. All right, so we are hosting, I know Rachel and I are going to host tonight a sneak peek call, webinar call this evening. Whether you're inviting to ours or Katie and Kendra are doing one Friday, I want to say, was theirs Friday? They had one, Jess Carey had one. We put all that information in the group, but the point was we wanted to give you guys ample opportunity to invite, and whether you are going to just tune in for yourselves or you're going to be, taking notes to host your own or inviting your people, we wanted you to have ways that you're able to invite people to learn more about this opportunity. Because when it comes down to it, if you don't ask, nobody's coming. It's kind of like hosting the party, right? Like if you don't invite anyone, no one's going to be coming to your party. And I want to share something with you guys, not for the pity party me, but I sat down when I did my, we talk about our time block, right? Like I sat down. One of the things I put in there every day from like last Friday through to today was to invite at least 10 people to the coaching webinar, like direct invite 10 people on top of the emails that I shared with you guys, on top of the call to actions that I was putting up in my stories on my posts. I wanted to invite 10 people a day. So it was going good. Yesterday wasn't feeling too hot. I crawled into bed at like 9:30 last night and I was like, son of a gun, like I didn't invite my 10 people. And I went through my head, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna know. And I was like, no, like if I'm going to tell you guys to follow through on what you're doing, then I'm gonna expect myself to do it too. So I was like laying there. I'd already like told my kids good night and told my husband good night. And my husband comes in and I have my phone in my hand. And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I told my girls that they all had to invite to this call and I didn't do it yet. So I'm sitting down to invite. And I'm so glad I did. I ended up going through, I picked open like an old group, an old sneak peek group that I had ran. And I just went in and I was like, hey, I know that it's been a while since we talked, but you had joined the informational group I had about coaching. I'm putting together a little info session tomorrow night. Here's the link. I'd love for you to register, or I'd love for you to join us. You have to register to join. And you know what I got from that? Responses. Now, obviously, some people still ignored me. I think I ended up sending 11 of them last night. Some people straight up ignored. I got one that was like, oh my gosh, I am so interested. Thanks so much for thinking of me. And anytime I like force myself to invite when it's that like, oh, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it, I'm always reminded that the invite is what works. That there are people there who are watching who it just slips their mind or whatever it is. They need you to show up in their inbox. They need you to let them know that you think they would make a phenomenal coach, that you think that they have a quality in them, that they would benefit from this business in some way, shape, or form, and they need you to show up in their inbox. And it was such a good reminder. I was going back and forth. I think I ended up with 3 people from those messages last night who registered. And had I not forced myself to sit down and send those invites, it wouldn't have happened. And the same thing like this morning, I did it too. Like I'm still not feeling 100%, but I'm here and I'm showing up because part of the job, right? Like if I had to go into the city today to work my day job, you rest assured I would have been there. Like in the 6 years that I worked in the city, I never once called off sick. So no, I'm not feeling real great, but I had an obligation to show up here and talk to you guys today. And I'm here because it's part of my job. Because in the same way I wouldn't call off the salary job in the city, I'm not going to call off on you guys, because when we treat this business like a business, it pays like a business. So again, I don't need like a pity party. And I just want you guys to understand that this business works when we treat it that way. So hopefully the tips, like the emails, did anybody send out those emails that I shared earlier this week? You guys use those as templates, as ideas? Did you get good response from them? So emails are hit or miss. I still, every time I think I'm going to stop sending emails, I'll do one, and then I'll just send like one more. And then I get a response. And I'm like, see, that's why I have to keep sending emails, because some people open them. And I find with emails, that's why I had like those 5 in a row. I think there were 5 of them that I sent you guys, right? I did it because people have to see it over and over again. And it's the same thing. Like, how when you're shopping online and you add something to your cart, I'm like a chronic add to carter, but never purchase. It's like I always go in, I add a whole bunch of things, then I step away, and then I get the email that says, looks like you forgot something. And I'm like, oh, I did, because I was looking and then I got distracted and then I went and did this. So I feel like that's how I show up before a sneak peek. I do send all of those emails because I want people, some people are just, the people who aren't interested are just going to either ignore it or delete it or unsubscribe from it. And that's fine, because I don't want the people who aren't interested anymore, right? I want the people who this is still in the front of their mind. So by sending repetitively, I didn't do every single day. I kind of like, and I skipped out, like some were morning, some were night, some were afternoon. But I did it because I want, it's like whenever you're posting on social, you can't just post about your group one time and expect people to see it or expect people to join from it. I do it repetitively so that people catch on. And it's like, okay, that's enough. Like, I'm going to act like, I want them to take action. I want them to register for the webinar or unsubscribe from the emails. Like, I want them to do something with it. So that's why I had so many. And then what I'll do, I actually, the whole reason that webinar for tonight has a registration link is because people register and then give their email. I can take that email list, I can export it, I can share. It says, I put one of the questions in there is who's the coach that invited you here, so that I can give it to anyone else to say, like, for one, it helps us with our email list, right, in our follow-up process. But anybody who invites to the call, you'll get your people from it. So you'll be able to say, oh, well, I sent this to Lena, so she's going to say Megan invited her, but Lena sent it to Rachel. So Rachel's going to say Lena invited her. So you can see who it's from. So that's why it's not just an open webinar, that it is something that you had to register for. So that the point was so that all of you guys, if you're inviting to it, your people will put you down, and then I'll just take that registration link and export it. And then I'll send an email with the recording to my people. And then you guys will be able to get the recording and send it out as well. And if you're sitting here and you're like, well, it's Wednesday and the call's tonight and I didn't invite anyone yet, so I'll just hop on the next one. I'm going to encourage you to just Mel Robbins style 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and just start sending the invites. Go through every person showing up in your challenge group. Go through people who you've talked to before. Go through people who you've never even mentioned it to before and say, hey, I saw this, or I'm hosting this tonight. I'm going to be on their live tonight with it. Even if you're not doing it, right? My team is hosting this call tonight. We're going to be sharing with you guys what we do about coaches. I'm super excited and passionate about growing my team. Would you like to check it out? Like, I left it all super open. I sent a lot of invites on my stories too. Like, over the last few days, I've been putting it up on my stories consistently. And then I just send them that registration link, because they don't even have to respond to me. They can just click on it, click on the registration link in the email and register. It's kind of like you're giving people an out either way. Because I'm not even asking them for a response. I hope you can make it. Here's the link to register. Even if you can't be on live, go ahead and register anyways, because it's going to be recorded and I'll send you the recording. So it's been a very easy, non-committal way for me to invite people to coaching, because it doesn't require like a whole lot from them. Even if they can't make it, they don't have to say, oh, I can't make it tonight, because it's going to be recorded and I'll have their information to be able to send it to them as well. Use them, not much great response, 2 coming, maybe 3. The email, Teresa, are you in our phase 2 group? Or are you, Teresa? I see you. You're muted. There you go.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just started. I'm in like 1,000 groups.
Okay.
I'd have to check. I'm not sure. That's
Okay.
where it is though.
Are you in Melanie's?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send you, or I'm in her. I can pop it here, right? I'll just pop the Facebook link in here. So we have our phase 2 group, and on Monday I went through and just shared emails that I was sending out to my email list of kind of like, some of them were story related, like some of the emails were a story, right? Like, I remember a time when, and then some of them were like, I think there's an email that's scheduled to go out tonight at 7 p.m. because the call starts at 8. And it just says, just a reminder, call starts in 1 hour. Here's the link to register. Like, so some of them were super short, and then some of them were a little bit more story related. But in the emails, I put the Facebook group link in our chat. In the email, I gave people the registration link. And then I don't know if I did it in all of them, but some of them I just did, like, I have a Facebook group too. So like, Some people, the idea of getting on a webinar is kind of like, like no thanks, but they'll scroll a Facebook group on their own time. So I like to give people options, but then in that Facebook group, I created an event for the webinar tonight. So it's a whole lot of like, this is what I'm talking about, but I'm putting it in every little place that I can possibly think of to try to touch on any person who might be interested. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But these emails, like when I went down, I sat down Saturday morning, to do all these emails. And honestly, all I did is I went into my email server and I searched coach in the subject line, and I pulled up 5 emails that I had written before. So none of them were new. I recycle content all of the time. The stuff that was in, I think I took one of the emails that I found in my archives and I pulled that information and it became a post this week too. So like the information I'm sharing, I want to like kind of sidebar here. The stuff that I'm using in the emails that I sent about coaching to build up for this event tonight is all stuff I've shared before. It's not new stuff. You don't have to always recreate the wheel. You can leverage stuff you've already created. And that is all I did. I just I made copies of all the different emails that I wanted to do. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to send a reminder. I'm going to, and then on Thursday, right, tomorrow, I'll send a follow-up in case you missed the call. If you missed the call last night, here's the recording. So it's just a way to get it out in front of these people over and over again, because I always go back to the fact that I personally watched my coach for a year, crushing it in this before I finally said, okay, I'm in. So I take that mindset when other people are, when my ideal coach, right, who's on the sidelines watching, that they are also kind of teetering, looking. And I had a girl message me on my Instagram and said, the same. She's like, okay, wait, I think I saw you were doing some call Wednesday. I've been watching you for a really long time. I'm curious, how do I get into this call? Mm-hmm. So it just goes to show you constantly have to be like, people are always watching, even when you don't think they are. But if you're not then in the inbox inviting them, like that girl, I obviously missed her somehow because I didn't have a correspondence with her previously, but she was watching me. So if I was like, oh, I've already posted about this enough. Oh, I put it up in my stories yesterday. I probably don't need to put it up in my stories again today. Oh, I don't want to be overkill. Be overkill. Be overkill. Post it over and over and over again, because it's that one time that you're thinking, oh, I don't need to do it again, that it will. So with, hours to spare tonight, you can use that link that I shared if you want to invite to our call tonight. Katie and Kendra also have the one on Friday at 12:30. If you kind of want to sneak into the one tonight, you can kind of get a feel for what it's like. It'll just be different. I think that's what's so great about having different people speak, is that you get to hear from different people, and everyone has a different story, and somebody's going to connect to one story and not another, or vice versa, which is why these are so powerful. And just to kind of give you an expectation, I don't expect the call tonight to be very long. My goal is not to have somebody sit in front of a computer for an hour. My goal is for them to hear enough stories that they realize if she can do it, so can I. That's the end all of it. I don't want it to be this dissertation of why Team Beachbody is phenomenal and the company that Carl Deichler created in 1990, whatever, and that doesn't matter. What matters is we have an opportunity that can be a gift to somebody else, and we have the responsibility now to share it with them. And that's what we'll be doing tonight. And that's what you'll hear from Katie and Kendra later. And I think Jess have one too. Is Jess doing one, or did we miss it already?
I think they already had it.
They already had it. Okay. Because I know Jess Carey said she was going to do one too. But if you haven't hosted your own, join as many of these as you can, because the more that you join, the more ideas you'll get. I know the very first one that I did, I watched before I did my own, I watched one of Melanie's on a Monday night and took notes forever, and then literally copied the same thing and said my own. I did everything the same. I got her slides from her, and then I did that same presentation 2 days later. So it's just, people just need to hear what you have to say in your stories. So is that all? Is everyone good? Do you have somewhere
I didn't turn it off.
To?
I can't hear it with my heater.
Oh, I'm gonna mute you, Stephanie. Rachel said she has some stories that she's gonna put up. That's awesome. And I also reuse the stories too. Once you make a story set, keep it saved and you just keep reusing it. And if you get updated pictures, cool. I know somebody, I forget who it was in the group, had said, well, I don't have any pictures. We've been shut down here in Canada for a while. Use old pictures. I use old pictures all the time. It doesn't matter what the picture is. What matters is the words and the excitement and the energy that you're bringing to invite people into this. that all helpful? We're going to be inviting. All right, cool. All right, so as we wind down, we're obviously sitting here. It's what we've got 5 days left of the month of November. Good Lord, where did November come from? Of January. We're going to be repeating this group next month. So if it's something you want to stay plugged into, by all means, you're welcome to stay and hang out. We'll be kind of talking about the same types of things just as the business emerges and goes. But before we close down this month, we really want to help make sure that you guys have the tools and everything under the belt to make this part of your habits. Like the reason we have you guys putting those trackers in every day is because we want you to do your tracker every day. You know, this business is built on habits. And when you do something consistently over time, all those seemingly small and significant actions, they build and they build and they build, and they can amount to a really phenomenal business as long as you keep going. And I hope that you're seeing the other people in this group showing up the same way you do. You catch a vibe of somebody else, you see someone's post and you read their post that they shared in the group and you connect to them, because the more relationships you can build within each other here, the more your business is going to flourish on the outside. And that was something that Rachel, Kendra, Katie, and I really talked about before we got started with this group. Was we want you guys to not just be like, coaching is cool because it pays my bills and I earn an income, but because of the people. So if you haven't yet, like that's why getting on the call tonight, like I could listen to Rachel, Katie, and Kendra share their story over and over again because it never gets old. I love them as humans and as fellow coaches. And I love being able to realize that we have built this business from corners of the United States through these Zoom calls and connecting on this common relationship of, you know, yes, we're all coaches, but we all have a really powerful story. And I leverage their stories. I'll share, oh my gosh, my friend Katie this, Kendra this, Rachel, like I get to share their stories with other people that I relate to. And that's really what I hope that you guys are taking out of this, is that you're building the relationships within the team. And it doesn't have to be your direct downline, but the more that you connect with these people when time gets hard, or when you get frustrated that nobody's responding to your coaching invite message for the night, or you get, you know, frustrated because a coach quits on you, you're going to have these people to lean into. And the people is what's going to keep you here through those hard times, which is going to help you. And every time you go through one of those tough times, you come out of it so much stronger. That was truly one of like the biggest things we wanted you guys all to take away from this group, was the opportunity to build relationships. It's been hard in this season where we're not always getting together, where we're not going on all these trips, or we're not having these quarterly Super Saturday events the way we used to, where it's allowing us to like, this is it. This is what we're going to leverage for now. So I hope you guys are seeing people in the group and you're posting and you're sharing and you're connecting with people who you have a common ground with. My first group that I ever ran, my first coaching group, none of them were none of the coaches, they weren't my downline coaches. They were my like peer coaches, right? Like the same level as me. And we went through those hard times together. And when one would advance to Emerald, then we all wanted to advance to Emerald. And then somebody would advance to Diamond, and then we all wanted to advance to Diamond. And we pushed each other in such a healthy way that it really helped grow our business. So this was our month one. This was kind of our getting started and up off the ground. But we want you guys to continue growing in that, because that is where this business goes beyond just something that's going to, you know, be a financial blessing to you, but a blessing in your life in every single facet. So Lena, I had a rough, slow October, November, renewed lately. I'm glad that this was helpful. That makes me really happy. But you know what else? You've leaned into the group, Lena. Like you've shared in the group. And I think that's something, you know, it's kind of like our challenge groups, right? Like I had a conversation with one of my challengers this morning, who she's been in and out for a long time. And she sent me her before pictures and she's like, I did it. Like she restarted and she's so excited. I said, okay, but keep leaning in. Like you can do it once, but when you pull back because your day wasn't perfect, or you ate a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies or whatever you did, when you pull back and don't share that, you retreat from everything and you just get further and further away. But when you lean into the group, you're going to, same thing, challenge group. It's so parallel. Our challenge groups are our business groups and the groups that we run here. You build those relationships with the people. Like the girl today, she posted in the group. She's like, I was just going to send these to Megan, but I decided I'm going to share them here too. Lena, actually, I feel like you commented on her post in the group this morning too. But so she decided, she sent me her before pictures, but then she put them in the group. And I saw Lena comment under them, and I saw another person comment under them, and everyone cheers her on. And because everyone's supporting her, she's going to feel so that much better, and she's that much more likely to continue. So Lena, I'm so glad that you shared that, because you're feeling this sense of renewedness and this excitement in the business, but you've also been showing up in here. So the more you show up, the more you get those pats on the back, that congratulations, good job, keep doing what you're doing. When you share, oh, I'm struggling with this, how can you help me with this? All those things that you share, they help push you further. But when nobody, you know, like if it's going to be, oh, nobody's responding to my messages and nobody will do this. And oh, it just, when you're like negative Nelly or just holding it all in and retreating, then that's whenever you just keep getting further and further back in the business. So I appreciate you sharing with that. And I just want anyone else to just take that little piece. If nothing else, just lean in this group, the same way you would tell your challenger to share the good, the bad, and the ugly on their fitness journey, share that here too. Because if you're struggling with something, chances are somebody else is struggling with that too. If you're having success with something, share it, because chances are somebody else will have success with that too. I didn't have to give you guys all those emails that I was sending. I want you to take all that stuff and to use it and leverage it and spread it and share it, because Lord knows there's enough of this to go around, and we can make a heck of an impact whenever we link arms and go at it together versus try to do it all on our own. And I know for me, when I tried to do Beachbody on my own, I failed. I failed with P90X, I failed with Insanity, and I failed with T25. And it wasn't until my coach forced me to join a boot camp that I finally got results with this. And this is the same way. We don't want to force anyone to be a part of this training group, but I promise you, when you link arms here the same way you do in a boot camp group, you're going to get the same results. You just have to do what we're saying to do. Is that helpful? Rachel, Kendra, Katie, I don't know if you have anything else to add. I don't have anything else for you guys. My goal was to help you guys understand that this group is amazing when you lean into it. That the people you'll meet through Beachbody are better than any other group of people out there, because we come together on the commonality that we're here for health and happiness. We get to help other people as part of their jobs be healthy, happier, and healthier. Like, I did a reel about that actually, because like that's my job description. Like, I don't know any other job that requires you to show up for yourself and to be a source of inspiration and hope to other people, and to keep spreading that forward on a daily basis. Like, it's a pretty cool job description. And it's not only ours, but we get to share it with anybody else who wants to take advantage of this incredible opportunity too. So if you blocked off an hour for this call, then you have 35 minutes to sit down and go invite to tonight's webinar or the Friday webinar, or just sit down and create your content for the week, or create a reel about the dream person you're looking for, or whatever it is. But I'm not going to waste your time with anything else. Anyone else have anything to say? Share?
Yes, I do actually. And things are coming to mind as you were sharing things. And okay, so number one, obviously we're inviting you to attend, the webinars that we're all hosting. So you can invite people to, come join us, but also so that you can see, like Megan shared, like how we're running things. I did shoot Jess a text, and she's in our phase 2 group right now, uploading her webinar, because she does things, differently as well. So that way you can get a good feel for how she does them. And Kendra and I are always changing them up. But the one thing I wanted to share with you is, okay, number one, you've got to host these on your own, because if you want to be seen as a leader, as a business owner, then you've got to be hosting these on your own. And I want to share with you how many times Kendra and I would host one and nobody would show up. And we would do, Q&A style, right? And then we would be waiting and waiting. We're like, okay, we are just going to pretend that people showed up, and we are going to answer all the questions, and then we're going to record it and we're going to practice. And then the cool thing about that was we would get messages from people, and they'd be like, hey, can I get the recording? Can you send me the recording? And so then we had something to share with people. We had something to send in our email. But I can't tell you the amount of times Kendra and I throughout the years would host these and not a soul would show up. But we didn't stop showing up. We didn't stop inviting to them. We didn't stop, being consistent with them and hosting them once a month. We just kept, moving forward. So just know that, like, it's okay if nobody shows up, you just keep going with it.
Katie, let me
Okay.
add to that, that I've had conversations with my coaches about the fact that they're like, oh, but isn't that like kind of lying? And like, are you having integrity if you do that? And here's the deal. Katie and I talked about that too. We always want to be authentic. We always want to be honest people. That's a character issue to us. But at the same time, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But when you have such a strong faith that what you are offering people can change their lives, and you know that, like Katie said, maybe they'll come back in 2 days and be like, I wanted to be on there, but I couldn't. And you know that over time, people will show up. Then it's not lying. It's not faking it. It's not being inauthentic or not being honest. It's being so confident that you're at a place right now where maybe you don't get a lot of views, and so therefore people aren't there, but you know they will come, and you know the one person who sees it, it can change their life, and therefore you keep doing it. We certainly never went on a big thing that was like, oh, we had so many people show up. No, because we didn't. That would be lying. But we can say, like Megan wrote in here, I'm so thankful for those that showed up. Well, that's not like, because Katie and I showed up, and people from our team showed up, but maybe they showed up a day later with the recording, or maybe the weekend when because they were working all week long. So make sure that in your brain, if you are struggling with that, that's okay. Work that through in your brain. Don't ever do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, but also know that as a woman of integrity, you can so strongly believe that people will show up. And if you need to, this is showing up right here, what we're doing right here. Just because maybe somebody doesn't show up on your call tomorrow at 3 p.m. or whatever, we're all showing up for here. We're showing up in our group. We're showing up and encouraging each other. So have confidence in that you're not alone and you're not lying to your people. One thing I didn't like was when people would say, fake it till you make it. I'm not a big faker. I don't love that, but faith it till you make it means what I have to offer people at the core level is so life-changing, so profound that I know they will come. That's kind of that's the difference there. So anyways, just wanted to throw that out there.
I love it. I can't tell you how many team calls I've hosted where nobody shows up, business opportunity calls where nobody shows up. And I'm like, okay, this is really good practice. I'm just gonna keep smiling, and it's okay. Somebody's gonna need it. And just don't get frustrated. And I hope you guys realize that we've all had it. We've all done it. And we're all still here. 7, 8 years later, we're all still here because, like Rachel said, bar our belief. We believe in it. Believe in the products. We believe in this business opportunity. We believe it. We've lived it. We see it. We show you guys it. And we're here because we understand that there's someone out there who's like the us from before who needs this. I know that's why I show up. Somebody asked me way back in the very, very beginning, I think I had been a coach for maybe a year. And he said to me, he goes, what keeps you showing up? And I'm like, well, I can't quit on someone. Like if I had one challenger, one who trusted in me to help them reach their goals, I could never imagine being like, you know what, change your plans. I lied to you. And I know life changes, and I know people have circumstances where life changes. But for me, that was the mindset that's always kept me going forward. Like I couldn't imagine quitting on somebody and not following through on the word that I had for them. And I think about the me who I was before this business opportunity came into my life, and I was a hot mess, and I looked like I had it all together on the outside, and from the inside, I was crumbling. So I always think of her. I think of that girl who finally reached that final scroll on social media, who was like, enough is enough. That's really been where my posts have been lately. Like I used to scroll so much, and that was, gosh, so long ago. Like social media wasn't even what it is now, but I would scroll and I'd look and I'd roll my eyes and I'd be good for her. And I was so bitter about it because I was so unhappy with myself. So I'm looking for the girl who is where I was, who wants to be where I am today. And I know that I have the tools to help her get there, whether it's in fitness or in business or in both. And that's what keeps me showing up every day. And that's why I continue to do what I do. And no matter if I'm not feeling good or not, I still show up because I know that there's somebody out there who needs to hear whatever it is I have to say. So, all right. Well, if that's all, I will get this recording up for you guys. The moral of the story is share this gift because there's someone out there who needs to hear it from you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.